Hi Anti-Society, welcome back to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are checking out Dreamcatcher's Rate of Dream album, and I'm super excited for this because Deja Vu was epic in a completely different scope. I feel like I've heard some similar things to the scope of Deja Vu in some of the more modern songs that I've heard from Dreamcatcher, but I can definitely see this turning point in their music from the stuff before that, and I know part of that is probably because it's an OST, so there is a certain like theatrical feeling to it because of that, but definitely one of my favorites. Love the music video. It was so beautiful, so I'm excited for what this album has for us. And the only thing I have as a critique or disappointment is that it doesn't seem like there are any special clips for this one. I know that there are like concert videos and they've redone some of the songs or new versions of them in more recent days, but it does make me sad that we're not going to get to see any of those and it's going to be lyric videos for this, but it's still going to be some great music. I've heard some of these songs being recommended to me and people really wanting me to check them out, so I'm very excited to finally get to them. So let's get into the intro, which are always just like so interesting to me. Okay, piano. That's beautiful. Ooh, love that drum coming in. Gorgeous so far. Melancholy though. Oh, spoke too soon. Ooh, okay. I love the like drum fill that came in when we switched up. It has like a melancholy feeling to it, which I feel like also fits with Deja Vu. That again, when I was reacting to it, I said it like has this ballad feeling to it with that contrast with the more rock sound in the chorus itself. So having this feel very like melancholy and having the piano opening it up is very ballad-esque. Love the like fun synths that are happening. It's a little off kilter. There's something like haunting and off-putting in the way that these synths are kind of filling in the back of the track. Always love the guitars. Ooh. No, hang on, timeout. We had a wind up there and I was like, okay, it sounds like we're like, something's gonna shift. I wasn't expecting an actual drop, an actual drop into something that has more of a EDM or noise sound to it. Obviously, it's still like pretty stripped, so it's very like, there's more like simplistic elements in it. There isn't like a ton going on like some kind of noise music where there's just like tons and tons of layers being put into it, but definitely a different vibe. Are we getting something like that? Because I don't know if I'm ready. We had a little bit of that in some of their other songs where I was like, that's new. And people were like, no, it's not. I've reacted to some of their newer albums where I'm like, oh, I've never heard that before. And people are like, oh, you'll get some of that sound in previous songs that have kind of built up to this point. Because if there's a full-on like dancing, almost like EDM track in this, I don't know if I'm prepared for that to be in my life. Because you get that like wind up sound. It's like a glitchy sound too. Ooh. Guitars are clean here. Love the overlay of the guitars and drums with those synths. That it? Ooh, interesting. I love at the end where it was this mixture of the more common sounds that we get from like Dreamcatcher music of like the guitars and the drums and like rock instrumentation mixed with this very synthesized, almost glitchy sound to the overall track, and they like overlaid really well together, like blended really well together. And that makes me intrigued of the kind of production that we're gonna get in this, because I already said that there was this feeling of duality to Deja Vu, of like ballad and also like rock anthem feeling to the song. So like having those two genres kind of blending together within that, and then in this intro also feeling like we're blending two different sounds. Fascinating. Ooh, that just makes me excited to see what we're gonna get from the other songs of this album. This is the one that I'm super excited for, because I feel like this has been recommended to me so many times, especially more recently, because they did a new version of it. They remade it, or like a concert version or something. So lots of people have been asking me to check out that version of it, and I've had to say like I can't do that because I haven't heard the original. So that makes me think that like, one, this is a favorite both like amongst fans and amongst Dreamcatcher, and that there's something special about it that makes me excited. Let's see what this one has for us. Ooh, okay. Just starting right off. Ooh.
눈을 뜨는 그 순간 펼쳐지는 신기루 어느새부터 바짝 다가온 성득한 떨림 불을 끄는 그 순간 점점 가까이 따라오는 숨소리가 또 귓가에 맴돌아.
Okay, they just kind of threw me in, trying to like collect my thoughts. Okay, well, far more of a dance EDM sound than I was expecting. I don't know, I guess like with Curse of Spider, I always think of like stuff going on with the Nightmare storyline because of the spider and the curse and that. So I guess I was kind of expecting something a little bit more on the theatrical and orchestral side to that, because I feel like that sort of fits into what that era of their music was a little bit more, the more like gothic sound to it. Whereas this is more of an upbeat dance track, bringing in those like glitchy synths again. Love the way that we brought it way down, starting off with Gia vocals, because she has such a soft, beautiful tone. I feel like this one might be a danger because we haven't even gotten to the chorus yet, and I'm like, this song bops. Like, oh, live? There's probably choreo, right? Oh no. I'm getting some danger sirens going off if there's choreo, especially if Sua's involved. Hang on, is this a Sua choreo? Do I need to be afraid for my life? That's something I want to know. There's no choreo. That seems illegal. What do you mean there's no choreo? With this beat? I mean, having fun on stage could also be its own danger. I feel like there is, at least with choreo, there is some kind of confinement to the kind of behavior that we can expect from them. Letting them just do their own thing also seems like a dangerous prospect. In concert, this is probably crazy though, with that kind of beat. Xian's tone here. Ooh, beautiful tone there too. Ooh, the melody there. Okay, I love the vocal melodies there. There's something about the off-kilter sound of them. It's very much mimicking what I was thinking with the synths in the intro. Love their vocal tones in this. I don't know what it is. I think they're digging into some of those like darker tones, which I just always love. But it feels like we're getting lots of duo moments. And maybe that's just because there is kind of a darker tone to the other vocals that it contrasts quite nicely with her more light and breathy tone. She definitely does dig into some of those darker tones on occasion. But I feel like her voice just kind of sticks out with this kind of production, but maybe that's just me. I love the melodies though. It's such a fun cadence that they're taking, to the point where I'm being distracted and I'm not really focusing on lyrics, and I feel bad about that. But when I get too distracted by the production and the vocals, lyrics definitely get left behind along the way. I will try to focus though. Love a guitar solo. Ooh, the bass.
Don't you wake
See, I find it interesting that we have the line, "Don't you wake up." And maybe I'm reading too much into this because I know that this is an album that's like written for a specific story in mind. "Don't Wake Up" reminds me of all of the dream imagery that we've had before, of like wanting to stay in dream. And maybe I'm just pulling too much from the nightmare storyline because I'm still not ready to give it up. I'm in denial. But them not getting out of the curse, staying in the dream, but also staying together, which maybe makes it a good ending. There is some debate that is happening in my comment section on that one, whether or not there was a happy ending or there needed to be a happy ending to the Nightmare trilogy. I definitely wanted some more closure. It's saying like, stay in dream is something that I think about a lot of with Dreamcatcher, is wanting to stay in that safe space, in that place that is separate from the world and other people, and getting to be in that bubble with each other and their fans. But also this feels like blocking out a lot of stuff, like almost running away, both in terms of the pace of the production and also from what they're talking about, that it feels like they're running away from something. And maybe that is playing off of the Nightmare story, where it does feel as if they are running away into the curse because it feels safer or better, or it's too tempting not to run into that place as opposed to staying in reality. It could also be this hope of like, if we can just keep moving and stick together, that maybe we can outrun the things that we're afraid of. We can outrun the nightmares. I don't know. I'm getting distracted by the production, I'm not gonna lie. I love this with the snaps. Like, it just pulls us in. I love her vibrato. Ooh, Gahyun with the little cry there in her vocals? Hang on. Ooh. Okay, no, I was getting distracted by Gahyun's gorgeous vocals, and then we had that like whole synth thing go down. Okay, I feel like also the like focus on me of running away from the things that you're afraid of, or the things that you have nightmares about, because the whole thing in the Nightmare trilogy was that they all kind of had their own specific nightmare that they were embodying, and it was almost like impossible for them to run away from it, that they had to eventually face those nightmares and become them. And it feels like a similar thing here of focus on me and us and our group and who we are, and let everything else kind of go to the wayside, which I feel like is like a double-edged sword. And maybe that's like why we have some of these off-kilter vocal melodies where it does feel a little bit off in the way that they're saying some of this. There is probably some intentionality with that, besides just it sounding really cool, to have this off feeling to the way that the vocals are being delivered. Because on the one hand, sometimes just focusing on the things that like actually matter to you and having a core group or that support system is a good thing, because fear can be something that takes over us and makes us doubt ourselves and can get in the way of us doing the things that we actually like and care about, because we have that fear. It can even be interacting with people that we care about because we feel as if we don't want to mess it up, or that we will somehow be judged or not cared for when we are our authentic selves. Like, there can be tons of reasons for why we fear being around people that we care about, because we don't want to disappoint them, or we don't want them to be disappointed in us. But it can also be bad because if you're not facing something that is making you afraid, it can build up. There's one thing to be ignoring something that's like pointless anxieties about things that don't actually matter. And I say this as someone who has anxiety, and I do tend to get stuck in my head about things that don't actually matter and freak out about things that don't actually need that much time and energy put to them. But then other times, if I just ignore it, I never actually end up doing the thing that I want to do. Like, I never actually get past the fear because I'm just ignoring it, as opposed to taking that leap and, doing it despite the fear. So I feel like there's this double side to it. And I feel like that falls into the curse with the spider in the Nightmare story, where it feels as if they are succumbing to like the temptation of this curse of the nightmare. And it had this certain feeling at the beginning where it was almost like this uplifting, empowering feeling, and then it descended into this more chaotic and sinister vibe as the story progressed. So there's two sides to it, right? Of, are we ignoring a fear because it's actually of no consequence and it's not going to help us? Or are we ignoring a fear because we're not ready to face it and go through that fear to get to the other side? I feel like there's a little bit of both happening here, which is why there's some uneasiness in like the way that the song is put together. Loved Gahyun's vocals here though. She sounds gorgeous. Ooh, the synths are cool.
Yeah, I was wrong. It's not over. I can appeal, it's okay. You're not alone. Promise you. Yeah, I promise you. 그날의 약속을 기억해. 영원히.
Ooh. Okay, one, I need Dami to not come for me, and I know that that's mostly me just being wrecked, but I need her to just, like, again, give me a little bit of space. I was okay with her second verse coming in because she was kind of, like, sing-rapping, and I was like, this is a little bit easier for me than when she comes in, like, full force rapper mode. This is a little bit more closer to her rapper voice, but also the keep it in a bottle very much makes me think of keeping a keepsake, keeping something hidden away or protected, which, again, can be good because you're, like, protecting something and tucking it away and making sure that it's safe, but it can also be a bad thing if you're hoarding it away or keeping something trapped when it shouldn't be, a la the spider that was taken inside to the house that should not have been taken inside. And then also saying, like, I promise that you're not alone, I think is very much how I was getting before, of like them banding together and being a force, all of them together, as opposed to being separated, stronger in their numbers, as opposed to letting the nightmares or letting the fears get in the way of that. It's strange. There's like this weird, like, empowering feeling to the song, and then there's also this off-kilter, sinister feeling to a lot of it too. Saying it's not over also makes me think that we're still doing nightmare things. Love that choppy delivery. Oh gosh. Ooh, love that pause. The pianos are really interesting there. Ooh, okay, so we have like the pianos and they're like a really bright sound, but then you have this very distorted guitar. Again, contrasting two different things and overlapping them. I also think it's interesting in the chorus where they say like, you need me, which can have a uplifting, hopeful tone and a sinister tone depending on the context, right? Like you can say like, you need me as in we need each other, which is kind of what they're playing off of throughout the lyrics, is we need each other, we are stronger together, it is better when we are all in one place and protecting and looking out for each other. But then also saying you need me, you can't go on without me, you can't go and do something else because you need me, you have to be with me. Like it has that feeling, and again that feels very much like the nightmare story where they're kind of being coaxed and tempted into the nightmares, into the curse, where it has this codependence on this power, on this ability in the way that they feel when they're connected to the curse. A very good song, love it. Headbanging, would love to hear it in concert. I can understand why they would release a concert version or clips of them doing this at concerts, even though this is a song that came out a little while ago. I get them continuing to do it with a live crowd because I bet it's a lot of fun, but definitely has that duality, that parallel between two different things coexisting, which was in the intro, was in Deja Vu, even like with the two timelines, where there's the timeline where Jio betrays Yuhyun, and then there's the timeline where Yuhyun betrays Jio, and how much of it is being imagined, how much of it is actually happening, how do they overlap and intertwine. I feel like there's so much duality within this album already that I'm just fascinated by, and I love the way that they're mixing sounds, again, like there at the end with these really bright piano keys and then this very distorted chunky guitar sound, that you're having those two things constantly like interweaving with each other. And even some of the lines that they were delivering with their vocals, where they would have very light sound and then they would transition into a much darker sound by the end of the line. So constantly playing between those two things, it's just fascinating so far. I feel like I'm gonna need some time with the song to get it. Like I can understand why it would be a fan favorite at like concerts, just because of the sonic landscape of it, but I feel like I need time to just sit with the meaning behind the song. I love when a song makes me want to like go back and analyze it even more, though. It's a good sign. Silent Night, I feel like this is a big one. I feel like The Curse of Spider I heard a lot of because of more recent stuff. I feel like this is one of the ones that people are like, wait till you get to Silent Night, that I've just been like, why, what does that mean? So I'm a little bit worried, also excited, but again, I don't know where we're gonna go with this because we're doing a lot of dualities and parallels and having lots of different ideas and sounds being intertwined together, that this could go many, many different ways. I don't like the way that Gio is looking at me in this picture though. Ma'am, I did not ask for you to come at me during this. Thank you very much. Okay, let's check out the song though. Okay. Guitar. There's a lot of suspense. No, I'm gonna need a second. I'm gonna need to go back and I'm gonna need a second because who gave Handong permission to sound like that? That's my question. Who gave her permission to have that tone? Because I know it wasn't me. And having Yuxian come in right after that is kind of mean. The sound has like a darker vibe again to like their vocal delivery, but I don't know. There's something about like the beat in this, and I have to listen to it again. Okay, I was too shocked to have a coherent thought. Give me a second. It's almost playing like bluesy in the melodies. No, going back because how dare she put that little like vocal cry in the middle of that vocal run? The vocals are going to be vocaling on this, aren't they? I wasn't ready. Oh, it was beautiful transition. Sua. Okay, I know I'm pausing a lot. I know I'm pausing or rewinding a lot, but Xian's voice here and her just doing that like beautiful, I love her falsetto so much. Whenever she lightens up her voice, there's just something about it. And I think it's because she can do those like really rich, dark sounds that when she lightens up her voice, there's just something about like the natural tone of it that just like makes my brain happy. But also the fact that she's able to do both makes me very jealous because she seems to do it so effortlessly. The vocal melodies in this are also super interesting. Like their vocals sound fantastic on it, but the choice of melodies is so pleasing to me. And I think it's because it has this like bluesy way of approaching the melody that just instantly perks up my interest because jazz and blues is something that my brain and my soul loves. I think also there's like fairly minimal stuff going on with the production. So it's really pushing those vocals and those melodies forward for the focal point that it's giving that spotlight and that space that it needs. I'm scared about what's going to happen when we get into the chorus. Maybe I'm stalling a little bit. I know I was warned. I get it. People were like, this song. I still wasn't ready. I need a second. I'm going to take a drink of my tea, collect myself, and try to get through this song in one piece. We'll see what happens. Okay, carry on. Love that line. I'm sorry. I was like, who is singing to me in that tone? And it is Gahyun. I wasn't ready. Hang on. Rewinding and pausing a lot. I cannot get through this in one piece if we do not pause. Okay? Fair warning already. I would not be able to do it. Love the buildup that was happening there. Gahyun's vocals there of her getting into like that deeper tone. Whenever she does that, I don't know what like demon possesses her in those moments, but I'm never ready for it because I'm used to her having these very bright vocals and being the maknae. And, you know, I know that she's like a force to be reckoned with on stage, but I compartmentalize it and kind of like separate her just being like her adorable self from like whatever happens to her when she's on stage, just for like the sake of my sanity. But I'm never ready. I'm never ready when she shifts her voice like that. Love the line that we got though, that was like a blade pointed at someone else always comes back, always returns, is it's a really interesting image. I know that we've had them talk about blades and that kind of imagery before in other songs before this point, but saying if you're going to point hurtful words words or hurtful actions towards other people, it's always going to come back around in a very like poetic way, you know, of saying like what goes around comes around. And there's almost this like sinister undertone of it too. Again, like getting into some of that with this album of there's this subtle undercurrent of a threat of you might be hurtful to me in this moment, but eventually it's going to come back to get you because I'm gonna persevere. I'm gonna make it through anyway. And there's something about Tio being the one to say it that just like hits differently. Her as like the leader, I feel like her saying that line has like a certain power to it. Wait. No, okay. Be proud of me for not pausing during that because I couldn't interrupt them. The chills that went through my whole body, the entire part of that chorus. I'm gonna need them to cover my therapy bills after this, okay? Because I'm not okay. And they're responsible. And how dare they? The ad-libs happening, the like little glitch in their voice, like there's like a little bit of post on those vocals that just make it, they're like separating them into like two different vocal tracks. They're basically having two of the same vocal tracks over each other and then distorting one of them to just have this like glitching feeling to it. The way that it's almost like this anti-drop, like it feels more controlled in the chorus. The way that there's this threat in it of like, I don't want to see your blood, like, and I don't know if that is them saying to each other again, like saying like I don't want you to be hurt, and them talking to each other or to Insomnia, but it feels like it's a threat because we have that blade line of like a blade pointed at someone else always returns, saying to someone like, hey, you can be awful to me, you can say harmful things to me, but it's gonna come back, so it'd be a shame if you got hurt. It has some aggression to it of I would hate to see something awful happen to you, so watch your step. And the fact that it has this more controlled, subdued feeling in the chorus, again, just has this power to it because if they are controlled, they are calm, they could be going off super emotional, they could let that dictate their actions, but instead they're not. It's like this calm anger and threat that is very intimidating. The way that their vocals are going off, where they're kind of flipping up into these higher tones. Okay, I don't know what to do with the song. I honestly don't. I feel like I'm just gonna be a mess during this whole time. Is there choreo for this? Are there live performances for this? Will I survive it? Okay. It's fine. I'm good. I'm good. Headbangers of the choreo. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. But the song though, this is one of those songs. I get it. I understand. This is one of those B-sides that like within the fandom, everyone's like, that song though. I get it. I'm stalling. I'm not ready. Okay. Because I know when the second verse comes, Dami's gonna come in. She's gonna come in that second verse and I'm not ready for it. I'm never ready for it. But on this track, with this vibe, no ma'am. Let's do this. Once more with feeling. Xian. Oh, the strings too. The drums. Love that vocal, it's like repeated.
So I'm just silent. Just pray for you. No mercy, no gain. Some more big guilt. 반응이 오는 by the sign. 침묵이 보내는 총알을 타.
Ooh, okay. The confidence with which she repeated, she sang that. Okay, I'm like stuttering. I don't even have coherent sentences anymore. This is not good. We're not even halfway through. The like, pray for you, the threat in that, and the, what did she say? I'll just stay silent. Silent night. Like them saying within the chorus of like, the fact that this is a silent moment, when you have those very quiet moments in the nighttime where like all sound seems to go away and it can be very serene. And it's like, just because we are in this serene, almost calm before the storm moment. Don't think that that means that I am not a threat, that I am passive, that I will not strike if I have to. This feels like a spider. This feels like they're the spider in this, doesn't it? Like it feels like they're with their beautiful creation, with their web. And if you are dumb enough to wander into it, you have to deal with the consequences. It feels that way to me, that it's just like, you know, when they say like, don't knock on my door, they're like, this is me giving you warning shots. And like literally in Dami's verse talking about the bang and the bullets and stuff like that, of saying like, this is your moment to walk away. I am giving you this serene, silent moment to rethink your decisions, turn around and walk in the other direction. Because if you don't, it is your fault what happens next. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the confidence. It's so controlled too. Even the vocalizations and these like ad libs with them doing these vocal runs, very controlled, very much in charge of themselves. And it feels so threatening. Like it's just, I want to see a live performance of this because the vibes that they have on the stage while performing this will just be like immaculate. I'm intimidated and I'm not even the one who has hurt their feelings. I feel like I should be somewhere else.
So I'm just silent, just pray for you. No mercy, no gain, some more big guilt. 반응이 오는 by the sign, 침묵이 보내는 조화를 타. 막을 수 없어, 번쩍만 갈 이 불길을 피해.
Ooh, even though like flames will... Ma'am, I was trying to give a thought and then you had to do that vocal. Okay. Even saying like the flames will grow. They have started as a spark. They have risen up into these flames. And if you wander into it and you get burned, that's on you, right? Like this idea of like, hey, a fire can't help what it burns. It's just its nature to burn. So if you wander into the fire, don't complain about getting burned. Don't complain about how you can't take the heat because that was your decision. I love it. I love the vibe of it. I always love songs where it isn't about like outwardly bragging. It isn't like this, and this, and I can do this and this. Those songs that feel very braggadocious. I love songs that are just dripping with quiet, calm confidence, that underlying threat of like, I am trying to be helpful to you by saying, turn around, walk away. But this is also your only chance. It feels as if this is them saying like, this is your moment. I'm going to give you this moment, this quiet moment right here to make your decision. And whatever happens, that's because of your decisions. And you won't get another chance. So don't come complaining to me when you realize that you've made a mistake. It's beautiful. I love it so much. Also the song, the production, their vocals are vocaling. Like, she on there? Beautiful, ma'am. Those vocals in the back. Handong, ma'am, who gave you permission to sing with that vocal tone? Because I did not. We covered this at the beginning of the song. I was trying, every time I'm trying to focus in on something, and I'm like, oh, this is really nice. They come out and they're like, hang on, I also have something to just like serve up some vocals. I need everyone to take their turn, okay? Because them all coming at me at once is not fair. I haven't hurt them. I'm not saying awful things. I'm not trying to pick a fight. Why are they being mean to me? Xian's vocals in the back there, like really high up there, gorgeous, giving me shivers. And then Handong coming in with those darker, deeper vocals, contrasting them, beautifully done. I'm gonna need to listen to this song on repeat for a very long time. It's gonna be an issue for me. Probably fine. Just new obsession to add to the long list of Dreamcatcher songs that I have to listen to every day or I feel incomplete. It's fine. We have to do this chorus again. Okay. Like, she's up there in those vocals. Unacceptable. The electronic sounds, though. The drums. Well, the layered vocal that almost like builds up there too. Nope. Xian. No. 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 Not you giving me a Xian just like giving me gorgeous vocals and then are gonna drop into that, because remember when I was listening to the intro and I was like, if we go into like an EDM drop in this, I don't know if I'll survive. Dreamcatcher. We're gonna have to sit down and have a conversation after this one, because how dare you? How dare you? Because like I was warned, okay? And I'm struggling. What was this like for people when this dropped for the first time? Like you were just like wandering into this album and you were like, this is gonna be a good album. I'm gonna really love it. It's gonna be great. Can't wait for new Dreamcatcher music. Very excited. Only for this song to come out of left field and smack you. Because what was that like? Because I'm malfunctioning and I knew that this song was gonna hit. Okay. This is what we're doing. Sure, play us out. Like angelic vocals, and then that drop. Like it's a crazy beat to put on this song. Like who? The like wind up too. No. No. Who put this together? Who do I need to talk to? Whose mother do I need to talk to? Because I feel as if I have been disrespected and it wasn't even a threat towards me. I bet they do have a lot of fun with this live, especially when the drop happens. I bet it goes bananas. Like the crowd, them, the lights. That's two songs now that I'm like, oh, this is be fun live in a row. I know that I need to see them live. I understand that. They don't need to keep rubbing it in that I have not done it yet. I would if I could, but it's very difficult to organize. Production wise, like I know they're like core producers, the main people that are like putting their songs together. I need them to stop coming for me, okay? I didn't ask. I'm just out here trying to survive, and I didn't need you to put in like an EDM drop in this song after everything that I had been through. I'm not okay. We have one more song. How am I supposed to move on to another song? How do you follow that up? That makes me more scared. One more. I'm scared. I'm unsure. I feel intimidated. I kind of understand Jio's picture now. Women meant business in that one. What is this gonna, are we going ballad? Are we going sappy? Is this one for the fans? Polaris makes me think like, because it's, again, I was talking before about how we have these like two sides to lots of stuff. So we have like something that is, you have polars, right? You have two ends of a thing that are also like intrinsically intertwined. One cannot exist without the other. They are not opposites unless the other exists. So what are we doing with this one? Because I'm scared now. I'm tense. I'm overwhelmed. What sound is this gonna be? Okay, let's just do it. Just jump in. Oh god, is this gonna be ballad? Or are we gonna switch partway through? I'm like leaning away. Oh no.
추억하다 잠들어 넌 어디에 있을까 지금 너도 나처럼 같은 생각일까 가슴속에 간직해왔던 서로 향한 이야기 너에게 그 말이 닿기 위해 참 오래 걸리구나
I was already overwhelmed and in my feelings, and I felt like you had offended me in the last song, and now you're gonna just like swoop in and be all sweet and sentimental? Hang on, am I gonna cry? I wasn't in the mental space for this to loop around to crying. Love the imagery of the star. Again, always makes me think of Insomnia because of the star imagery that we've had before. We kept stories for each other. Love that image of keeping the memories of being with that person, because they're talking about like there being distance between them because you can see a star. There's still at that distance between you and where the star is. So saying like I'm keeping that memory of that person in your heart, but also it feels like keeping the stories of how you are living your life when they're not around, because you have the hope that you will see them again, you will meet up again, and you'll be able to share those stories and experiences with them. I wasn't ready to cry. Vocals sound beautiful on this one, but for like a whole different reason.
서로 향한 이야기 너에게 그 말이 닿기 위해 참 오래 걸리구나 우린 서로를 닮아 같은 추억을 안고 살아 그게 너라서 행복해 그 많은 인연 속에 수많은 사람 중에
I am gonna cry during this. Love the well, it says we live with the same memories of no matter what happens, we'll always have the shared moments that we had together. We'll always have the memory of when we were together, even with the distance between us. I feel like this is for Insomnia. It's we have made all of these wonderful memories. We've had all of these wonderful moments. And even though we can't always be with each other because there's always going to be distance between them and their fans, whether that is because they can't play concerts every night at the same place, they can't do fan meets in the same place and see the same people all the time. You know, they have to go to other places, they have to meet other people, they have to do other work and stuff, if they want to release music and stuff like that. And also just because they are idols interacting with fans, there's always going to be distance there between who they are as people and who they are as idols interacting with fans. There's always going to be some kind of separation between them, even though you can shrink that to some extent while still staying in a professional realm, but there's always going to be distance. Us being fans means that we are not personal friends with them, even though the parasocial relationship has its own special spark in it. It's not the same as actually being friends with them outside of them as Dreamcatcher. So there's always that distance, but at the same time we can still close it to some extent and we can still share in the good memories. And even them saying I'm thankful that it was you among all these people, even though there is going to be that distance between them and fans, how wonderful it is that they are able to connect with those people. Out of the numerous people in the world, all of the people that have heard their music or could hear their music or could interact with them, that they get to still connect with people who understand the kind of art that they are making and the message that they are making and support them in that creation. How wonderful to have met those people and to have that connection, even if there is some distance between it. Whenever they get really sweet and sentimental, I'm why are you so sweet? Because I believe it. I believe them when they say it.
조금 오래 걸려도 나는 괜찮아 변하지 않는 북극성 따라 걷고 있으니까 가슴 속에 간직해왔던 서로를 향한 이야기 너에게 내 넘쳐날 수 있게 그 자리에 있어줘
Oh, okay. I also love them talking about Polaris guidance, the way of being guided to a specific place, and them saying, be in that spot so I can tell you all of these stories. I can tell you all these things that I've done in the meantime when we haven't been together. And again, comparing that with stars, that they have all the star imagery with Insomnia with their fans. Guiding star is something that I brought up a long time ago, of them talking about pins of light in the darkness and how that kind of guides them out of that darkness or comforts them even when they find themselves in that dark place, because you use stars as a way of guiding you traveling around. Without a map, you can use stars for that. And also we use stars as constellations, right? And constellations exist because there are stories wrapped up in those. So I love all of the kind of images all coming together of gazing up at a night sky, and even though there is darkness and there's all this space there, there's these pinpoints of light that all together build images and stories and provide guidance in what they are doing. I just think it's a really rich image to bring all together, not just in this song, but that they've built up with all of their songs before this to get to this point that it hits the way that it does. Maybe I'm talking because I need a break. They'll get me in my feelings if I just sit here listening to it. Also, I love all the keys and other strings with the guitar coming in. I just love them so much. I feel it in my heart. There's a physical different shift in my soul when I get to listen to Dreamcatcher. Love the layered vocals here. I'm not gonna let that pass me by, Miss Xian. No. I knew she was gonna do that. I was like, we were building up those vocals with everyone like adding in a little bit more and a little bit more. I knew we were gonna end with Xian coming at me with her vocals. I feel like this is also great live. I feel like this is a great encore song or send-off song because I feel like everyone would be singing it together. Also, if you have the light sticks, because then it's like a little galaxy with all the little lights in the darkness. I'm just saying, the aesthetic of it would be great. I would also be probably crying in the crowd because I cry at the end of every concert, pretty much. Even when I'm just like watching a concert, like especially with K-pop, because it's hard for me to actually be there at a K-pop concert, but I've definitely watched like the recordings of them and I cry literally every time when I get to the end. Every single one. I've never gotten to the end of a concert and not been emotional about it. Maybe I just need to relax. That's fine. You had to hit me with a changed lyric where they're like, we resemble each other, and then they changed it to we resemble our like sad selves. That's part of how we connect. Like, I think part of that is also they resemble each other because we can like understand what they're doing. Like I was saying about like supporting them in the art that they're creating, but also when they dig into those other more personal elements of their songs, we resonate with those. We can understand the situations that they're talking about and can see where they're coming from. And then to say like that is how we kind of like resemble each other, we reflect each other. But then also say we resemble our sad selves also makes me think of like at the end where we have to separate again, which is why I'm thinking like this would be a good concert, like end of concert song. We resemble each other, like just as sad as you are as a fan that Dreamcatcher is leaving for a little while, they are just as sad to be leaving the fans. Like that is why they gotta be so sweet? Why you gotta care so much? This album, who gave them permission to put me through the roller coaster of emotions and thoughts that is this album? And I didn't even listen to like Deja Vu like in the mix. It's fine, I'm just gonna be my feelings for a while now. I don't even know if I have ending thoughts on that. I don't know if I have coherent thoughts to be like, this is me summing up the album. I think interesting with this album is all of these images of having these parallels or opposites or intertwining of things that feel as if they should be opposites and shouldn't be woven together. And I say that more than like mixed, because mix implies that you are putting something together into like a new whole, whereas this very much feels like an interwoven tapestry of different elements and different images and messages that they want to express being kind of woven together into a tapestry that makes sense altogether. Starting with Deja Vu, that has this feeling of betrayal and feeling as if you have fallen into a situation again, even though you should know better. Like it's almost like this regret that you found yourself in the same place that you've already been and the feelings associated with that. And then you get into the Curse of Spider, which also feels like we are paying homage to like the Nightmare trilogy and the Curse and the Spider associated with that, which again is like a repeat of something that we have already done, a situation that we've already found ourselves in, and feel bad about finding ourselves in a similar mistake or trip up, and them talking about we should band together, and as long as we have each other it's great, but also it's like I only have one thing to lean on and you need me. Like it's this feeling of being very dependent on someone else and using them as a way of avoiding things that you're afraid of or things that intimidate you instead of facing them head on. And then getting into Silent Night, which is like this whole like threat, but also is them kind of stepping into that place of confidence and being able to face that fear. Silent Night is them deciding to not run away, turning around, facing the thing that they're afraid of and saying, I'm the thing you should be afraid of, right? It's almost like when they going through the nightmare story, again, not to keep making connections, but it's almost like when they gave in to the nightmares, they embodied them, they became them instead of running away from them. They were the threat, right? Like they were the thing that the ghost hunter guy was running away from, that was terrified of. Like they were the threat in that situation. And that's what Silent Night feels like them finding that confidence and standing up for themselves, but doing it in a way that isn't from a place of extreme emotion, of a place of like quiet and calm and composure, and loved it. Like I loved it both like as a song, like sonically loved it. Their vocals were fantastic on it, but loved the quiet confidence of it. Again, that undercurrent of threat and I'm being nice for warning you. So if you don't take this chance, that's your mistake. And then having Polaris at the end of being like, now that we've scared away all of the haters, all of the people who are going to be awful, or we've given them a taste of their own medicine, now it's just us, right? It's just them and their fans and the people that support them, and saying, I'm glad that even when I'm encountering all these other people who may not have the best interests when it comes to me or want to hurt me or pull me down because I am a threat to them when I'm confident, saying, I'm glad that I got to connect with you, and that among all of that, I still get to come back to the people that actually care and that I can make actual connections with because they take the time to understand what I'm trying to say. I feel so many things, which is usually what happens with these albums, where I just feel so much at the end that I don't even know. I don't even know what to do with myself anymore. I feel like I need to take a meditative walk just to figure out myself again. I feel like listening to Dreamcatcher albums is them kind of completely pulling apart all of my elements, and then they kind of stitch it all together again with whatever the ending song is. But I'm different now, and I don't know what to do with myself. Is that me being dramatic? Maybe. Okay, we're not here listening to Dreamcatcher because we're not dramatic people, but I feel a lot, and I'm gonna need a minute to sit with this album, probably listen to it a lot of times before I feel like I can set it aside for a while. It's usually what happens when I listen to a new Dreamcatcher album, is I just need to listen to it every day on repeat for a little bit until I can put it in like the queue with other albums that I regularly listen to. But I hope you enjoyed listening to that along with me. You can click this playlist to go and see my previous reactions, or you can subscribe so you don't miss the next time I post a Dreamcatcher reaction. I will see you in the next video. Bye.